ใช่ไหมคะ
รับรองว่าหัวข้อต่อจากนี้จะต้องตื่นกันทุกคนแน่นอนเลยค่ะ
อย่างที่หวานได้พูดไปถึงตอนเช้านะคะว่าหัวข้อเวิร์กช็อปในช่วงบ่ายเหมาะอย่างยิ่งนะคะโดยเฉพาะนักศึกษาที่กำลังจบใหม่มีใครบ้างในห้องนี้ที่กำลังจะเรียนจบ Bachelor Degree บ้างเอ่ยบางคนนะคะจบมา10 ปีแล้วอย่ายกนะคะยังนะคะน้องเสื้อชมพูนี้รออีก15 ปีนะลูกหนูจะได้เรียนจบปริญญาตรีนะคะเพราะว่าหัวข้อก็จะพูดถึงนะคะวิธีการสมัครงานตอบคำถามเป็นภาษาอังกฤษอย่างไรให้ได้งานนะคะโดยเฉพาะคำถามที่เป็นคำถามที่ยากเนาะอย่างเมื่อเช้าหวานก็ยกตัวอย่างเช่นคำถามที่อย่างเชิง attitude เราหรืออะไร
อันนี้สำคัญมากๆเลยเพราะว่าเขาจะวัดภูมิเราว่าแบบเรามีความเห็นยังไงเป็นคนมีทัศนคติอย่างไรแล้วเราจะตอบยังไงให้น่าสนใจ
ค่ะสำหรับเวิร์กช็อปนะคะในช่วงบ่ายนี้นะคะนอกจากที่วิทยากรของเรานะคะจะได้อธิบายแล้วนะคะก็ยังมีการจำลองสถานการณ์บทบาทสมมุตินะคะให้ทุกท่านได้เห็นภาพด้วยหลายๆท่านในนี้อาจจะต้องเป็นตัวละครหนึ่งในการจำลองสถานการณ์ของเรานะคะหัวข้อในตอนบ่ายของเรานะคะใช้ชื่อว่า Great Answers to Tough Interview Questions ค่ะ
ใช่ค่ะก็สำหรับหัวข้อนี้นะคะก็เป็นการตอบคำถามอย่างที่พี่หวานเคยกล่าวไปแล้วนะคะว่าแบบเป็นเกี่ยวกับการสัมภาษณ์งานนะคะแหมแค่ฟังชื่อหัวข้อนี้ก็น่าสนใจมากๆแล้วยีนบอกเลยนะคะว่ายีนก็เป็นคนนึงค่ะที่รอฟังหัวข้อนี้เพราะว่ายีนก็เป็นนักศึกษาจบใหม่เหมือนกันก็อยากจะรู้นะคะเกี่ยวกับทริคที่เกิดใช้ในการสัมภาษณ์งานนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นก็ก่อนอื่นนะคะเราต้องขอเรียนเชิญค่ะผู้ใหญ่จากทาง AUA ค่ะที่มาของสถานศึกษา AUA ก่อนนะคะแล้วก็ขอเรียนเชิญคุณสุมนสุรทินค่ะผู้ช่วยผู้อำนวยการสอนภาษา AUA กราบเรียนเชิญค่ะ
ขอเสียงปรบมือด้วยค่ะจะได้ตื่นเนาะ
สวัสดีช่วงบ่ายนะครับก่อนอื่นต้องขอบคุณทุกท่านที่ได้กรุณาให้เกียรติสถานสอนภาษา AUA นะฮะได้มาร่วมกิจกรรมกับเรานะครับคือจริงๆแล้วสถานAUA เราเนี่ยก่อตั้งมาปีนี้ก็เป็นปีที่62กว่าๆแล้วก็เกือบจะ63แล้วนะฮะก็อายุมากนะฮะคือเราเนี่ยอยู่มานานแต่เลยค่อนข้างจะเก็บตัวนะหลายๆท่านก็มาบอกว่าทำไม AUA ไม่ประชาสัมพันธ์อะไรเลยก็ต่อมาเนี่ยในช่วงหลังๆนี่เราก็เผอิญได้มีพันธมิตรที่ดีนะครับก็คือทางบางกอกโพสต์ได้ดึงเราออกมาจากหลังบ้านนะเราแอบสอนหนังสือกันอยู่หลังบ้านก็เป็นโอกาสดีที่ทางบางกอกโพสต์เนี่ยได้มาจัดกิจกรรมร่วมกับเรามาเป็นพันธมิตรกับเรานะครับเดิมท่านที่อาวุโสหน่อยก็จะจำได้ว่า AUA เนี่ยมีกิจกรรมร่วมกับสังคมมาตลอดนะครับเดิมเรามีห้องออดิทอเรียมเป็นห้องประชุมขนาดใหญ่ก็จะมีกิจกรรมดนตรีอะไรต่างๆให้ผู้คนได้เข้ามาชมกันเป็นความบันเทิงมีการเล่นละครอะไรต่างๆมากมายนะครับต่อมาเนี่ยทางสหรัฐตอนนั้นเรามีสตังค์นะเพราะว่าทางสหรัฐสนับสนุนต่อมาเราต้องเลี้ยงตัวเองครับกิจกรรมเหล่านั้นก็หายไปบ้างนะฮะแต่ครั้งนี้เนี่ยก็ได้เป็นโอกาสที่ดีต้องขอบคุณทางบางกอกโพสต์แล้วก็ M2F Job นะฮะที่ช่วยกรุณามาเป็นเพื่อนกับเราแล้วก็ได้มาทำงานร่วมกันนะฮะวันนี้ก็โชคไม่ดีเพราะเมื่อเช้าฝนตกหนักหลายๆท่านวันนี้จองกันไว้แน่นมากนะครับเรายังห่วงว่าที่นั่งจะไม่พอครับสำหรับเนื้อหาสาระในวันนี้เนี่ยคิดว่าจะเป็นประโยชน์อย่างมากนะครับคงนึกกันได้ว่าทุกท่านเรียนจบปริญญาเหมือนกันเวลาสมัครงานก็ส่งเอกสารเรซูเม่อะไรก็ว่ากันไปดูจากกระดาษฮะนึกไม่ออกนะครับเลือกไม่ถูกที่สำคัญคือจะได้งานไม่ได้งานก็คือต้องมาเจอหน้าค่าตากันนะครับและทุกคนก็คงยอมรับว่าสมัยนี้เนี่ยบริษัทส่วนใหญ่จะเป็นบริษัทข้ามชาติหรือไม่ก็ติดต่อกับต่างชาติเพราะนั้นภาษาอังกฤษนี่เป็นสิ่งที่สำคัญการที่ท่านมาสมัครงานแล้วเขาเรียกมาอินเทอร์วิวเนี่ยไม่ใช่สมัคร100 คนแล้วเขาเรียกทั้ง100 คนถูกไหมครับสมัคร100 คนอาจจะเรียกเพียงแค่5 คน10 คนถ้าเขามีเราอุตส่าห์โชคดีเขาเลือกเข้าไปแล้วให้เข้าไปอินเทอร์วิวแล้วปรากฏว่าไปทำอะไรที่ไม่ได้เรื่องได้ราวนะฮะถามอย่างตอบอย่างหรือว่าไปแสดงอะไรที่มันไม่ค่อยเข้าท่าเข้าทางออกไปเนี่ยก็คือไม่ต้องสงสัยเลยครับเขาคงไม่เลือกเราแน่นะเพราะฉะนั้น วันนี้ก็จะเป็นโอกาสที่ทางวิทยากรของเราเนี่ยจะได้แนะนำนะแต่ต้องยอมรับนะครับไม่ใช่ว่าวังจบไปวันนี้แล้วทำได้เลยคงเป็นไปไม่ได้นะฮะแต่ว่าก็จะเป็นเกร็ดเล็กน้อยเป็นตัวอย่างเป็นแนวทาง เพื่อที่ว่าจะได้ไปฝึกฝนต่อนะครับ งานที่ดีมันมากับคู่กับภาษาอังกฤษเป็นส่วนใหญ่นะครับคงไม่ใช่เสมอไปแต่ก็เป็นส่วนใหญ่ เพราะฉะนั้นวันนี้ก็ต้องขอบคุณทางบขโพสต์อีกครั้งนะฮะที่ได้กรุณาประชาสัมพันธ์นะฮะเพราะลำพังตัวเราถ้าเราจะจัดเนี่ยไม่มีปัญญาที่จะไปลงโฆษณาบอก พวกเราให้ประชาชนในกรุงเทพให้ทราบได้หมดได้กว้างขวางขนาดนี้นะฮะก็ถือว่าเป็นโอกาสดี ก็ขอบคุณอีกครั้งนะฮะแล้วก็ขอเชิญพบกับวิทยากรของเราแล้วก็กรุณาร่วมกิจกรรมนะครับอย่าอายเมื่อเช้าเห็นแล้วยังมีหลายๆท่านยังอายอยู่กล้าแสดงออกครับเพราะว่าโดยเฉพาะท่านที่กำลังคิดที่กำลังจะสมัครงานหรือคิดว่าจะเปลี่ยนงานอะไรก็แล้วแต่นะฮะครับขอบคุณมากครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ ขอเสียงปรบมือให้กับคุณสุมนสุรทินค่ะ
ค่ะ ค่ะพี่หวานคะตอนนี้นะคะยินก็รู้สึกว่าอยากจะฟังหัวข้อเวิร์กช็อปของตอนนี้มากๆแล้วนะคะ เพราะฉะนั้นก็เพื่อไม่ให้เป็นการเสียเวลานะคะ เราก็ขอกลับเรียนเชิญคุณสจวตแม็กม l เลนนะคะ เป็นวิทยากรเพื่อให้ความรู้กับเราในหัวข้อวันนี้เลยดีกว่าค่ะ เชิญค่ะ
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, dear. It's not turned on yet, so you've got to be. 1 second. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me at the back? There's people right at the back. Can you see me? Hello. You can come forward. Okay, thank you, Simone. My tie is not good enough to catch what he said. I hope you said something nice. Yes, okay. Good. Okay. Well, welcome to AUA. This is the second of the afternoon of the workshop. In English, this part of the day of the presentation is called the graveyard shift. Why? Everybody's had lunch, they're tired, sleeping, and anyway, okay. Welcome. Okay, this is the title of my presentation, Great Answers to Tough Interview Questions. I've been asked to talk to you about job interviews. Now, can you put your hand up if you have had... You don't know what I'm going to say. You have had your teeth taken... No. If you've had an interview in English... A few people? A few people? In English, what was it like? How did it go? Was it okay? Difficult? Stressful? Tell me about yourself. Yes, exactly. We're going to talk about that question. That is, that is the number one question of any interview in the world is, tell me about yourself. So you know that, so you can rehearse. Yeah, you can try it out, but it's true. But what I'm going to try to do today is talk to you about job interviews and help you to think about interviews, try to make it less stressful. Okay, this is me. I'm an English teacher. I did my master in education, so it's a master's degree, 2008, in London, which is where I'm from. But before I became a teacher, I was a social work manager in a hospital in London for 20 years, and I interviewed all the time. Yeah, I was interviewing for social workers. Then I've been an AUA supervisor here at AUA for 7 years, and I've been recruiting teachers. So a lot of what I do is interviewing in English, looking at resumes, checking, talking to people. So that's my experience. But where I started my first degree, what year was that? like 30 years ago. 1988 was in psychology. And I've always been interested in psychology. What is psychology? Study of what, though? Study of not heart, not me. Yes, your brain. It's really the study of behavior, trying to understand why people behave the way they do. And this is kind of important in job interviews, understanding what people are thinking and why they behave in certain ways. So that's my background. I'll tell you what I plan to do today. Okay, first of all, I'm going to talk about looking for jobs. Where do you look for jobs and how the world's changing? I'm also going to talk about writing resumes, or as in the UK, we call it CVs, curriculum vitae. So writing, how you do it, okay, and some tips for doing this. Then I'm going to come on to talk about interviews and how to answer the most popular interview questions in English. Yeah, so how we're going to do that. Now, I'm going to draw on this research. There's a guy called Jorgen Sundberg, and his website, his organization is called the Undercover Recruiter. And they do a lot of research in America about recruitment. And they did this survey 2014, so just last year. They surveyed 2,000 bosses on a whole range of things about interviews. And I'm going to quote them. Lots of really interesting statistics, and it'll tell you a lot about interviews. Okay, so that's my plan. Now, what we're going to do, it's already 2:15. Okay, so we will have a break. We'll have a break in a while. Now, this is the first thing here: importance of a handshake. Now, what I want to talk about is the idea of being interviewed by people from a different culture. Okay? Now, how important do you think handshakes are in an interview? Kind of important, very important. What do you think? Very important. I think it is very important. In the West, the handshake is more important than you think. Okay? The handshake, I prefer the tie. Why? I think it's much nicer, I think. But the handshake is important. Why? Why is it important? It is about confidence. Handshakes are about confidence. And I'll show you the statistic. 26% of bosses, this is from the survey, 26% of bosses, they reject candidates because of a weak handshake. Really important. In the West, that is how you can tell how brave someone is, how confident someone is. Now, what is your handshake like? I need a volunteer. I need a volunteer. You're going to volunteer? Okay. What I want you to do, so shake my hand. Okay. No, that was good. So what you've got to do is you've got to have you see that firm handshake, and then like that. Now, often what happens is that people's handshake are weak. It's like this. That is not a handshake. That is just touching palms. Yeah, so stronger, a little bit. Yes, that's it. That's the one. Very good. Thank you, my volunteer. I tell you what. You get a prize for me. So, no, not why. Handshake. Well done. Well, that's good. That's good. Can you change? No, let me see your handshake. No, you can't. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to practice your handshake. But what you can't do is sitting down. I know there's this thing about maybe ladies can sit down, but I want you to stand up and I want you to shake the hand of the person sitting next to you. Okay, so if everyone stand up, shake the hand of the person and introduce yourself. Yeah, it's good handshake. Nice firm grip. You've done. Really important. You should practice. You should go home tonight and practice with your mother. Really important that your handshake is firm. If it's weak, 26% of bosses said they reject people if their handshakes are too soft. So practice your handshake. So these kind of statistics helpful. But when you walk through the door, a handshake will be first. So remember this. Okay. Even if you hurt them. Okay. Okay, let's look at some other statistics. How do you look for jobs in Thailand? Where do you look? It's nearly always websites, not newspapers. And the online one, yes, of course. The vast majority of jobs are found online these days. Yeah, so how do you find a job? This is interesting. 18 million people in 2014 found their jobs on Facebook. Jobs offered on Facebook. Facebook is perhaps the biggest market for jobs now, biggest universal market. The other way, I know this is not popular in Thailand, but 8 million people found jobs on Twitter. When I say to my students, I give them my Twitter account, and they're like, no, I don't do that. I don't do that. But Twitter, really important. 8 million people found jobs on Twitter in 2014. And the other one, LinkedIn. 10 million people found jobs. You get emails. Oh, will you join my LinkedIn? Can you join? It is important in the job market. 10 million people found jobs through LinkedIn. So it's online, but don't forget Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Okay? These are now the biggest professional networks for job finding. There's a question. How important is your social media posts when you're looking for a job? 93% of recruiters said that they look at your social media. What does it mean? They look at Facebook. Yeah, Facebook. So if you are applying for a job, it is likely that the recruiter will look at your Facebook page. Okay? And now think about that. What pictures do you have on your Facebook page? Yeah, exactly. Lifestyle pictures. What pictures, though? I'll show you examples of what you should be careful of. So make sure your posts and pictures that there's something that your future employer would like. The thing about Facebook is still a new thing. I know young people, they think, oh, Facebook. In my life, it's only 10, 15 years ago that nobody used Facebook. Now everybody uses Facebook, including recruiters. What they will do, and I know because I've done it, if someone applies for a job at AUA, we look at their Facebook page. It's part of the application. So, if you have a picture like this, or like this, do not put it on there. I mean, I can't say to you, let me put those up again because they're fun. These are real Facebook pictures. So somebody has decided to put a picture of themselves drunk and vomiting on Facebook. But if I'm trying to give this, would you give this guy a job? No. So you should go home, look at your Facebook page. People think, oh, Facebook is only used for social reasons. It is not used for social reasons. It's used for professional reasons. And your bosses will look at your Facebook page. Particularly, it's true now because I've done it. You want to get a good idea of your next employee, Facebook will tell you. Okay? Be careful of Facebook. Okay, I'm going to talk about writing resumes. Now, this is an unusual thing to say. Recruiters are people most of the time. What do I mean, most of the time? What do I mean, most of the time? Why not all of the time? Now, there is computer software which will scan and look at resumes. There are robots, really, or computer logarithms which look at, because if you're a recruiter, you may have hundreds, thousands of resumes, and there's not enough time to look at them. So now there is software which will scan resumes and look to see. It will look for certain trigger words, look at qualifications, for example. It will search your qualifications. If you are not qualified, reject. Automatic rejection. Okay, so recruiters are not always people. All right, so there's some resumes which are rejected because of software. But in the main, recruiters are people. And I really want you to, this is the most significant point I want to make. Do not forget that recruiters are human beings and they have prejudice, they are biased, they have problems, they may have a bad day when they're looking at your resume. They have to look at many resumes. It is boring. Yeah, you don't forget that you're trying to convince another human being that you're the right person for the job. And if you forget that, if you put too much information, for example, the person will not read it. It's just too boring. Okay? It's too much. So what they'll do is reject. I know because I've done. If you're a recruiter, how many people here are recruiters, bosses? Is anybody recruiter? Has nobody read a resume? Because when we advertise for a job here, we advertise for a manager post in the academic department, 200 applicants for one job. It's hard work to look through resumes. It takes a long time. So what I know that in the end you say, well, that person, 10 pages, I'm not going to read it. It's true, it's true. And recruiters all over the world are the same. But the human beings, what you have to do if you're applying for a job is convince another human being to notice you. Out of hundreds of applicants, why you? Really difficult. It's not fair, but it's true. How long do you think a recruiting officer spends reading each resume? How long? 2 minutes? Any other? 3 minutes? 3 minutes? Anything? Hour and a half? No. I'll tell you, this is the research.
Really?
5 to 7 seconds. Now, this is an average. This is an average. It's not a, huh? Did you fall off your chair in surprise? But 5 to 7 seconds, it's not a long time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. 5 to 7 seconds. Why? Well, this is an average score. What does it mean? This is, as an average score, 5 to 7 seconds. They certainly do not have time to look at everything. But if you have 200 applicants, how is it 5 to 7 seconds? Qualifications. So what you do is, Look at the first one, qualifications, no. Next one, qualification, no. This is like 2 seconds. But then you see someone, qualifications. Okay, let's read a bit more. Let's look a bit more, a bit longer. So average 5 to 7 seconds. So 200 applications, most are 2 seconds. Some you look at, you read fully. But you've got to think, this is terrible. How do you get noticed? And how do you convince another person to think about your resume for more than 7 seconds? What do you do? I mean, smile? Yeah, but you're not there. This is just your resume. Picture. Okay, well, let's do that. Yes. Absolutely. So you've got to do it in a certain way. It's got to look a certain way. I think you're absolutely right. I will come back to this. How important is your email address, do you think? What do I mean? But you see, and I do this all the time, you get emails from people who have not thought about their email address. Crazy emails. You know, when people first write, they'll think, well, what shall I call my email address? Something unusual. And so they do things like this. Unprofessional email addresses are the reason for rejection of 76% of resumes. So if your email address is crazy, it will be rejected. It's likely to be rejected, 76%. What does that mean? So if you have an email address like this, I love beer at Yahoo. No, you laugh, but so many people put this kind of email. We had this guy, big boy. Anything, email addresses that say, I love to party, I love girls, all of these things. Because people choose their emails. But if you see this, recruiters say, no way. Facebook picture, email address, It's for a recruiter, they're saying, who is this person? I've got 200 applicants. I'm going to look for reasons to reject. I've got to do it. You do not have the time to read 200 resumes. So you look at people's Facebook pictures? No. You look at their email address? No. Oh, I've only got 50. That's how you manage your time. I'm sorry, guys, if this is disappointing, but it's real people, managers making decisions. You might have fantastic applicants, but if you have this email address, you will not get an interview. All right, so think about what clues you're giving the recruiter. Let's see. Now, this is, so your idea. Should you attach a photo to your resume? Yes, everybody say yes. Just with the person next to you or around you, why? Just if you can, just talk with the person. Should you, yes or no, why? Just talk about it for 1 minute while I get a drink, while I have some beer. What do you think? Yes? You think yes? Let me go to the back a bit. Can I move away with this? What do you think at the back? Yes or no? Yes? Anybody say no? Oh, come on, you say no? No? Anybody say no? Well, I tell you what, I say no. I say do not put a photo on your resume. Okay? Do not. I would say, why do people say yes? What are the reasons? What are the reasons that people say yes?
Because a lot of resume is a letter.
Yes.
But if we have the photograph, for photo, we can say about their appearance.
Yes.
Or their first impression.
I guess so. I guess so. Yeah, you will. You can tell someone's appearance. You can look at their face, and if they're smiling, there's a problem though with photos. This is the problem. You remember, this is a survey of 2,000 recruiters and bosses. If you attach a photo, your chance of getting your resume thrown out goes up to around 88%. Attaching a photograph is dangerous. Why? That's my... No, I'm asking the question. Why? Why? Why do I say that? Remember, this is a Western, this is American and British and Australian survey. Why do you think people don't like photos? Discrimination. Absolutely. Absolute discrimination. If they see a picture, you're more likely, the person who's looking at it, even if they say, I am not sexist, I am not racist, I'm none of these things, they are. And they will look at your photo and they say, too old, too young, I don't like her hair, smile not good enough. 88%. Really dangerous to put your photo. I know it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but it is true. If you put your photo on the resume, you're likely to be rejected. If it's for an American job, it's for a British job, you don't do it. But in Thailand, what I'm talking about is being interviewed by foreigners. Now, I don't know the rules. I don't know the rules. If you're applying for a Thai job, maybe it's the expectation, but not in the West. If you're applying for a job and it's going to be an American interviewing you, my phone is if it's an American interviewing you, this is true. Okay? You do not have to put your photo, and the advice is do not. Okay? Do not is the answer. Okay. What's next? Yes, okay. This is what I said to you before. The software, software will reject about 75% of all applicants. If it's used, about 75%, that means the software finds a problem on your resume, not qualified, or something about, there's a problem, and 75%, okay? Okay, I'm going to give you some tips for writing resumes. Oh, and you can talk about this actually. How many pages?
2, 3.
Only two, between 1 and 2. 2 pages. 2 pages may be too much. Half a page. I name an age, not photo. Not photo. Always the advice is keep it short. Really, you should keep it to 1 page. I know people find that very difficult. I know 2 pages is what people want to do. But I tell you, most recruiters will not look at page 2. It's got to be really short. Imagine 200 resumes. Sometimes, this is absolutely true, sometimes people will give 10 pages. 10 pages, they give everything they've ever done, every experience they've ever had, all the pictures of their girlfriends. But no, the recruiters don't care about that. They want to see 1 page, and they only want to read absolutely relevant experience, only the briefest of information, short information. I'm saying 1 to 2 pages, never more. Never more than 2 pages. Yes, this is now I know that this, breaking my rule, this has got a photo. You can't really see this, but this is an example of a resume. This is only 1 page. It should look a little bit like this. This is good, I think, but it's got a photo on. That's the problem. But he's very handsome as well. So I can't say it's private. It's all right. But now one thing to say. There's so much research on these things about how you should look at this online. Look at the tips for writing resume. But if you're writing a 1-page resume, the most important information should be here, not here. Why? They won't have time to read. If you don't put it here, they'll be like, next. You've got to think about these 200 applicants, and people are putting irrelevant information at the top. You have to look at that. There's lots of research to say that if you're reading a page, where does your eye fall? And if you're an American, if you're British and English speaking, you start here, and it's maybe top left, you'll start to read, and you look. The most important information should be right at the top, not at the bottom. You increase your risk of being rejected if the information is lower down. It's just the way it is. The next person will have put their best experience at the top, and that will catch the eye of the recruiter. Your information, which was down here, and your parents' address, we'll see, or something crazy, nothing to do with the job. You're applying for a job. You're applying for a job in a bank, and you put down, oh, I worked at McDonald's 2 years, flipping burgers. People say, who cares about that? But it's at the top. And so people will say, oh yeah, this. So they'll look at it and they'll say, well, this guy's from McDonald's. Reject. Put the bank experience at the top. Okay, at least this person worked at a bank. Now I'm going to read a little bit further. So what you're trying to convince the recruiter is to look at your second page, to read more. And you can only do that with a hook. Okay, and that should be here. Okay. Put the most on that. It should, obviously, this thing, I did put this here, but it's obvious. But you'd be surprised. Most resumes are now sent by email, so it doesn't really apply. But it should, if you are sending it by snail mail or through the post, it should be on good paper, and you should never fold your resume. Yeah, it shouldn't. It should look professional. It should look good. Put it in on one sheet of good quality paper in an A4 envelope that's got a hard back. And then the person, oh, this looks good. If you screw it up and throw it through the window, it doesn't look right. So that there, but most of, obviously by email now. So not to worry. But if you're printing them out, print them on good quality paper or card. Make it look fantastic. Okay. Not scrap paper. Okay, it should be. Now this is the other thing. Why I think this guy's resume is very good is because I'm saying 1 page for a resume. He puts a cover letter. And the cover letter is very relevant for the job he's applying for. Okay? But if you have a resume, you should revise it every time you apply for a job. It shouldn't be so generic and you just send it to 200. If you do that, the human being receiving your resume will feel upset. and feel hurt because he will say, this guy is applying for 100 jobs. Why should I be interested in him? Or why should I give her a job when she's applying for lots of jobs? The problem with this is when people are applying for jobs, they often send an email to 100 places. And the problem is when you get the email, it tells you how many other email addresses it's been sent to. It looks terrible. It looks like you don't care about this organization at all. My advice to you is revise your resume, make sure it is relevant for the job you're applying for, and if you're sending it by email, only send one email at a time. Do not attach it to 100 other email addresses. It looks terrible. It really does. And people look and say, why should I care about this person? She doesn't care about us. Sometimes you get letters from people and it will say, dear school, or something like it will say, it won't be personal. The best way to send a resume is to find out the name of the recruiter and send the letter personally to them. This is just a kind of obvious stuff, but if you know who the personnel officer is, write that in. Dear Mr. Smith, I'm attaching my email. If you say, dear sir, it's like, okay, to everybody. You should make it personal. This is for tips for writing resumes. Okay. Oh yeah, get someone to proofread your document to make sure your English is excellent. Or you could take a course at AUA, a writing course at AUA. But if you make grammatical errors in your resume, what do you think happens? Rejected. Really? If you're a recruiter, you think this person has not taken time to even proofread. And so get someone to proofread. Get your mom to help you. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, do you want to do this? Oh, okay. Describe yourself. Describe yourself in 3 words to your partner. 3 words. If you're applying for a job, how would you describe yourself? What would you say? Handsome, athletic, romantic. Cheerful.
Diligent.
Diligent. These are good words. Good words. Any other things? I want to get words from over here. Responsible. Remember, so adjectives to describe you. Anything? Energetic. Anything else? Anything from the back? How would you describe yourself? How would you describe yourself? Funny. You could say that. I guess if you do. Strong-willed. That's a bit scary. So you'd say I'm responsible. Because remember you're describing yourself. So adjective would be I'm responsible. Yeah, you say that. On time. What would be the? So what was the adjective? Do you know the adjective? Punctual. Good at timekeeping. Something like that. I'm going to show you some things. Now, this gets kind of complicated, but this is the English language part of this. Okay? These are, what language should I use on my resume? This is, what are the worst phrases, do you think? They're not really the worst phrases, just they're on everybody's resume. Okay? These phrases, I would say, do not use. I'm a go-getter. What does it mean? It means you go and you get something. It means you're very active. Go-getter. It means you're active. These are really If I read these on a resume, I'm like, oh no, that's terrible. I'm the best of breed. That mean, what does that mean, best of breed? That's a dog. It's a dog. But people put it on their resume saying, I'm the best of my class or something like that. Best of my... I'm a hard worker. I'm a team player. Now, I know that people say, well, what's wrong with that? These phrases are used too much in resumes. Okay, so the bosses, 2,000 bosses said, we hate this language. It's really boring to read this again and again. Team player, there's a couple more. I was the go-to person. Now, there's something about these in English. What is this? What kind of language? What part of speech? What part of speech is it? They are nouns. Okay, I am a go-getter. I am the best of breed. You're turning yourself into a noun. All right. So if you remember anything of this, this is the point. You are turning yourself into a noun, and in English, it's not the best idea. Turning yourself into an object. Okay. Turning yourself into a noun is a mistake. All right. So when you're writing your resumes, don't think about nouns, and it will help you. So what do you say? I'll give you some good ones. Oh, these are good. I have achieved. I have managed. I created. I negotiated. I mentored. I trained. These are action verbs. Okay? And it describes things that you have done. So saying I am a people person or I am a team player, it doesn't give any evidence. It doesn't say what you've done. It just says, well, I believe I'm this. These words will give experience. I mentored 2 people in my team. That's direct experience, and it tells your employer, oh, okay, they trusted this person to train other people. So these verbs, so not nouns, think about verbs. I did this. I did this. In my job, they trusted me to be a trainer. I've managed a team. Perfect. I have managed a team. It's direct experience. And if you're an employer, that's what you're looking for. Always, you're looking for people with experience of these tasks. I've achieved them. Negotiated, fantastic. I negotiated a lower price on this. Wow, we love this person already. Okay, so action verbs. Okay, that's the end of my writing course. But this is, if you study this, if you study writing, these kind of tips really important for selling yourself. I help people write and create their statement of purpose for universities. And it's exactly the same idea. Don't describe yourself as a noun, describe yourself with action verbs. I've done this. It gives experience. Okay, so job interviews. Ah, yeah, okay. We're not going. Okay, we'll have a break in a minute. Job interviews. Now, this is great statistics. These ones here. How do you get through a job interview? Okay. How long does it take? Oh God, yeah. How long does it take for a recruiter to make a decision? 5 minutes. I think that's quite reasonable. 1 minute, 1 minute less. Well, 3. If 10 seconds. If you ask bosses, they say this. But some research says 6 seconds. That means no. In the interview. In the interview. Okay. So in the interview, when you walk in the door, 1, 2, 3, no, get out. Out. Forget it. 6 seconds. I think that's a bit pessimistic. I think that if you ask bosses, they will say a bit longer. But there's good evidence to show that people do make a decision pretty quickly. You know, people don't call themselves sexist, but they are. They'll say, oh, no, it's not because you're a woman. It's because you haven't got this. Okay. 6 seconds. It's a problem. Recruitment is discriminatory. But that's the way it is. But if you ask bosses, they say, oh, no, 15 minutes. It's not true. Okay, at the interview. Most interviews last about 40 minutes. That's the average, 40 minutes. Recruiters say they make their minds up in 15 minutes. Okay? So 2,000 bosses, when they were asked this question, the majority say about 15 minutes it takes me. So 15 minutes into the interview, they've decided. But the interview lasts for 40 minutes. All right, so the rest of the interview is just chatting. But they have made up their minds in 15 minutes. Now, other research says 90 seconds, other research says 6 seconds. So it is somewhere between those. I think 15 minutes is quite optimistic. It's good. The beginning of the interview is the most important thing. You're trying to convince people quickly. If you fail to convince them within 15 minutes, forget it. They're not listening. All right, so it does become important. Yeah, this is interesting. What you say accounts for only about 7% of the decision. So I know everybody thinks, oh my God, what am I going to say at the interview? But it's only a small part of the decision. What does that mean? That's crazy. Common mistakes. This is from people's experience. People who play with their hair. I haven't got hair. I can't. Can I play with your hair? People who play with their hair like this, brush their hair in an interview. Don't do it. It's people like, I don't want you to be doing that. I know people get nervous and they start fiddling. But 21% of recruiters say it's a problem. Don't do it. Brush your hair before. No eye contact. If somebody never looked at you, it's pretty bad. If someone's like, yes, no, I don't know that. It looks terrible. It means you've got no confidence. How can you meet clients? How could you sell things if you can't look at someone? Eye contact, really important. I'm surprised it's that low, 67%, but about 67%. Lack of a smile, 38%. I think it's low. In Thailand, I think it'd be higher. I think so. Whereas in America, if you're like, no smile. Bad posture. What is posture? How do you sit? Oh, it's okay. How you sit like this? Can you carry a book on your head? If it looks like you're like slouched. I haven't got a chair. But if you're slouched like this, or if but if you look really, lazy looking, slovenly, it's called in English. Bad posture, 33%. This is what mistakes bosses say. This is a mistake. Bad posture. You've got to sit up straight, look as though you're listening, and attention. Crossing your arms like that, a problem. That's a mistake. In the interview, don't sit like this. Why? What does it make you look like? Like that? You don't do that. Why? What does that do? closed, yeah, closed, or hiding something, defensive. Yeah, you maybe have secrets that you don't. It's like, I'm not telling you. It's true. It makes you look nervous, and they want someone who's confident and open. So always be thinking, okay, I'm open. Even if you're a psychologist, I tell you, this is the tip. If you're a psychologist, it's always good to show your palms to people. It makes you look open. This is a tip. If you want to meet a partner in a bar, romantic partner, show your palms to people. People trust you. I don't know how you do it, like... No, but you go like this. You say, I think this, I think this, I think this. Well, I first of all, I don't know. It makes you look open, okay? In the animal kingdom, they do it as well. They show palms for submission and for, trust me, monkeys will show their palms. Anything else? Oh, yes. Too many hand gestures, too much of that, and they'll say, no, who is this guy? It looks too much. You've got to be calm, relax, palms, but that's it. Oh yeah, handshake, we've already seen that, 26. Fidgeting. What does it mean, fidgeting? Who can show me? I haven't got a seat. Can I have a chair? Okay, fidgeting. Okay, so fidgeting is like this. You would move around. So if you fidget, it's moving around too much. You've got to look relaxed. You've got to look confident. You've got to look at peace with the world. Okay? Meditate. If you're too moving around, it makes you look nervous. It's not fair, any of this, because you're going to be nervous in an interview, but you've got to pretend to be calm. That's just the way it is. There's a couple more common mistakes, more mistakes that people make. This one is not fair, okay, but it's true. Quality of voice. If you're like this, hello. Yes, I'm very good at that. You've got to have a good voice. You've got to be able to show confidence in your voice. If you're like, yes, I'm very confident. It doesn't work. Grammar. It's okay. It's okay. I think this is, remember, not for speakers of other languages. This is generally for interviews. But if you're an American and you're interviewing another American and the grammar is good, it's very bad. If they know that you are from a different culture, it's okay. They're forgiving. They understand these things. But it is still important. Being too nervous. The interview is the only chance you get to show what you can do under pressure. Okay? If you can't cope with the interview, how will you cope in the real job? So showing that you are calm and confident is the way they say, in the job, she will be like this. She'll be great because she's got confidence. The way you dress, absolutely, 55% people say definitely. Too trendy or fashionable. 70%. Too fashionable. Too fashionable. No, not at all. And this one here. Lack of knowledge about the job. 47%. You've got to know the job you're applying for. But this one is interesting. Too trendy. 70% of people say, no, I don't want someone too fashionable in my office. What should you wear? We'll quickly go through this. Don't worry about this. I won't do this. We haven't got time, but I'll tell you what you should wear. Well, what do you think? What should you wear? Suit, shirt, yeah, something on the top. Not totally. But we've already seen that you shouldn't be too trendy, not too fashionable. Yeah, you shouldn't look too good for this. This is the question you should ask. What is the culture of the office? If you wear a suit to an office where everybody is wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and you look silly. You should look at the people who work there and see what they wear. Try to dress in a similar way. If it's very casual, it's okay to come to the interview in a casual dress. But you have to think about this. If people are wearing shirt and tie, you must wear a shirt and tie. You must look, the test is you should look slightly better than people in the office, but only slightly. If people are wearing a suit, you shouldn't come in a most expensive designer suit with a waistcoat, no, and flowers, no, and a top hat. No, you should look the same. They want to find somebody who can fit into the organization. If you look too good, they'll say, this guy is not going to stay here long. He's far too trendy. Yeah, it makes other people uncomfortable if you look too good. This is kind of easy for men. Men can just wear a shirt and a tie, easy. But the real issue is for women, because you have so much more choice. Crazy amount. How good do you want to look? I think the main advice is too fashionable is a mistake. When is it a mistake? If you're applying for a job at Prada or at Louis Vuitton, you might want to look really good. You want to look fashionable. You want to look part of the fashion industry. But everything else, no. Just look okay. Avoid bright colors, print, heavy print. That's the advice. What you should wear should be the least important part of your presentation. Dress pretty simply, bland clothes, and really what you say becomes more important. If you look fantastic, like you've just come from a nightclub or a wedding, they'll be like, wow, they look so good. I couldn't hear what she was saying. I never listened to her because she looked so fantastic. You really should be pretty simple clothes, and just smart enough for the office. Okay. Oh, how should you behave in the interview? I'm going to end on this one before we have a break. There's new research that says, this is psychology, you should mirror the interviewer. What does it mean? Be careful of this because it can look great. But if the interviewer does this, you should do this. You should copy the interviewer. Now, this is not really research by bosses. This is psychologists have found this. That people who act like the interviewer are much more likely to get the job. Why? So if you're like that, yeah, I'm showing you. I'm showing you. That's that. Why? They think what you have to come. It's below conscious level, but if you have somebody who behaves like you think, oh, they're part of my club. They're almost like my family is here. So if you're like this and the person goes like this, Yeah, they're like, you look good. What an interesting person. But you can't make it not too much. So if somebody's like this, you no, be careful of it. But it is, that's what people have found. Think about it. If the person crosses their legs, you cross your legs. Interesting it is, but there's good evidence to say that it works. You want to convince the person you're with that you're like their brother or their sister. And they'll think, I like this person. She doesn't know anything about the job. She's got no qualifications, but she's like my sister. Give her the job. No, not that. Not that. Okay, all right, that's enough. I'm tired now. I'm going to lie down. Let's have a break. We'll have a really short break, okay, because I've only got about another 30 minutes to talk. Yeah, your character, but there's something else they want to know, strengths and weaknesses. Whether you're right for the job, you're suitable for the job. But there's an important point here. Weaknesses. They want to hear if you can be critical of yourself. Critical. They want to know that you not only know what you're good at, but also what you need to learn. They want to know something about you to show, this person understands themselves. Yeah. Not easy, this question. Not easy, because what the problem is. So what do they want to know? This is it. He or she wants to see if you can do the job. As you said, are they suitable? How you answer this question will show how you can identify your skills and apply them to this job. Now, I put this as a good answer. So I'm a good listener. I plan everything in detail. I showed this when I was given a new project by my boss. I had to do everything. All of the answers should include experience. You cannot just say, I'm a good listener, and then stop. You know, you can't just say, oh, I'm really good at that, with no evidence. Anybody can say that they're a good listener, or that they plan everything, but the second part, shows experience. Okay, so I'm really good at planning, and I did this because my boss gave me a project, and I worked on the project. Great, because you're giving evidence. All right, so strengths is kind of easier, but you can't just leave it as a strength. The problem with this question is the second part, which is weaknesses. Because even though the question asks you for your weaknesses, do not give too many weaknesses.
I'm sincere.
Sincere is a strength, but you don't give too many weaknesses. You know that will count against you. If you say, oh yeah, I'm always late. No. I'm always sick, I'm lazy. I'm pretty lazy. I don't get on with people. I don't really like people. I'm rude to customers. No. What you have to do, really the cheat of this, the trick, is to turn the weakness into a strength. Turn the upside down frown into a smile. So horrible. But what you do is you say something like this. Oh, at times I can be too enthusiastic. Working long hours and sometimes running away with ideas. I really think I need to learn to slow down a bit and adjust to everyone else's pace. Teamwork is so important. Yeah, so what you're saying is, oh yeah, I know that I work too hard. That's my weakness. I can't stop working. I work too many hours. If you say, oh no, I go home early, they'll get it. But so you have to think creatively with your weaknesses. All right. So you might say something like, you know what? I sometimes am too focused on a project. I like to work on my own a bit, but I need to work with the team. I'm aware of that. I need to learn this skill. And that shows that you're willing to learn. Okay, so you must talk about weaknesses, but make them positive, make them strengths. Okay, so that I think is a good answer for that one. Even if they see through it, they'll be like, oh, well, well done for answering that. Okay, what about number 2? Why do you want to work here? Because of the high salary? Not a good answer. Can I just say, no. You cannot say because of the salary. Say that again, sir. Yes, you can say that. The location, yeah, you can say that. What else? Anything else? Why do you want to work here? It's a good company. I think that must be the thing. I want to work. Good company. No, yeah. So what is the one? Does this person know what we do? That's the first thing to say about this question. Does the person understand what the company does? Why do you want to work here? You've got to give in your answer something that says you understand what the job is. If you do that, then people say, all right, they've done their homework. Really important, fundamental thing. You've got to know the job you're applying for. Okay? So does this person know anything about what we do? Are they interested enough to have done some research? If you're not sure why you want to work there, they'll say, well, why should we give you a job? What is it about you that to become part of our family? We want someone who's done some research. Are you applying to many jobs, or are you really interested in this one? Remember I said to you, don't send your resume to 100, or if you do, be careful of the email. But this is what you've got to show people, that actually my whole life has been leading up to this job. I should work for you. Even if you've applied to hundreds, every one of them should think, oh, yes, okay, you're interested in this business. Who wants somebody who will leave in 3 months' time for a better job? No, you say, no, I love this place. So why? Yeah, well, that's what they'll say. Why do you love it? And you say, well, the best answer for this. So I'm aware of this company has a great reputation for high-quality work. High-quality work is very important to me, and I feel like I'll be right for this team. I've also heard you offer great opportunities in training and development. I'm sure I could learn a lot from you. This kind of answer is good because it shows that you've done some research. Now, if people are applying for universities with a statement of purpose, I always say, go to their website, find out the names of the professors. In your application, say, Professor Robinson is a lead in his field, and I really want to work with him. Professor Robinson may never see your application, but people know him, and they'll say, wow, this person only wants to work here, or only wants to study with us. It makes you stand out in a crowd. If you say, the boss, and name the boss, I've always admired him, even if you've never heard of him. But I really admire the work that Mr. Robbins does, and I've followed his career all my life. But you've got to convince them that you're a match. Okay, so that's how I would answer this. You don't worry about, I'm going to give you this, I'll give them all to you. But at the end, okay, so before you've got to stay for the presentations. Okay. Number 3. What are the main tasks and responsibilities? Similar ideas or anything else? Anything? Do you want to know about the job description? Now, that's a good answer, and what would you like? What would you like? Oh, Oh, God. My job. He's injured. He's thumb drive. Are you sure? You don't want to... Yeah, don't... Yeah, both. Both. Now you can have that one.
Okay, you take that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Okay, we're very generous. But yes, the job description, really important point. You need to read the job description. There must be one with every job advertised. You've got to know the job description well. Okay, so you really got to know it. What do they want to know? Do you know what the job is about? Have you done your homework? The main task is to lead a small team of staff and ensure that they reach their sales targets. It would be my responsibility to motivate my team and support them to work their best. That's a reasonable answer because you've read the job description, you know exactly what your job will be. Okay, so that's kind of a focused answer. Yes.
When I have interview, can I ask that what is my scope of my job?
If you do that, they could say, well, haven't you read the job description? Be careful of asking that, or what is this job about? Because it's like, well, you don't know. You've got to convince them that you do know that. You can ask lots of questions, but specifics about the job, I would be careful. If it's in the job description, what it shows is you haven't done your homework. So get the job description, read it, be aware of it. Okay, next one. Where are you for? Quick. What are your goals? Okay, the interviewer will say, oh no, I don't want to tell you. What are your goals? What about at the back? No. Yes. Save enough money for retirement and old age. Is that your goal? You can have one of these. But what else would you say? Goals. Want to be a manager? There's a risk. There is a risk to goals. If you say, I want to be the boss, and the job is not the boss, the person you're speaking to may be the boss, and they will say, hang on a minute, you want my job? Be careful. If you're too ambitious with this job, they'll say, no. We want somebody to do, we want you to fry fish, not manage the whole company. So be careful of it. But it's okay to say, at the moment, I want to be this, I want to work in this job, but maybe in the future I'd like to learn and go up the ladder. You've got to make it sound, but you shouldn't be too ambitious, I think. I think there's a danger, there's a real risk in it. The interviewer wants to know how ambitious you are, whether you could fit into the organization. This is kind of my answer. My immediate aim is to work as part of this team. All right, that's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear that you're going to be the boss. Okay, to learn a job and do well. Later, I'd like to develop my management skills and learn from the experience of this organization. Perfectly reasonable to say, I am ambitious, but initially you say, no, I want this job. Please give me this job, not a future job. Yeah, that's too much, I think. So, okay, 5. Tell me about your experience. No, not both. You can't have both. Have you got a daughter here? Have you got a son or a daughter? You want the teddy? Yes, okay. Okay, have the teddy. The thumb drive, no. Yes, your experience, really important. But the thing to say about experience is it should be relevant to this job. not all experience, not everything you've ever done in your life. The problem sometimes people face is they don't have experience. Using English, yes, that is a good experience for any job. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing you would say. But what do I say about this? The interviewer doesn't know how much previous experience. Now, this is my good answer for it. In my current job, I learned a lot about developing software packages. I've also worked as part of a team, and I really feel I can apply this experience to a more customer. Okay, that's not that good. But if you do not have experience with things, I'll give you. If you don't have that much experience, of things, you must apply your experience. So, for example, if you're applying to be a team manager and you've never been a team manager, you could say, this might be a later question, but you could say, oh, I love to play football, and I've learned a lot from playing as part of a team. Yeah, so you're applying something. You're saying, all through when I was at college, you say, I've never worked in this area, but I learned a lot from when I was working as part of a band. Working together, coordinating together. That's how I've learned to work as a team. So you're adapting your experience for this job. All right, so if it's nothing to do with it, don't talk about the experience. That's what I'd say. But you can always apply things. I learned to play piano. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of focus. That's why in this job, I think I'll be great, because it's a lot of detailed project work. My piano playing experience. Well, but you see what I mean? You can turn things into good experience. Good luck. Number 6, what do you know about our product services? Homework again, absolutely. You've got to know, the interviewer wants to know, to hear how much research you've done into the products. I like this answer. I was happy with this answer. Your products have got such a great reputation. They help set the industry standard. Very complimentary to the people who are interviewing you. I do think that there could be more opportunities to target younger people. I am sure that you could increase sales with a new marketing approach. I have lots of ideas. Yeah, so what you're doing is, I think I would give this person the job. What you're saying is, I know about your products, I know they're fantastic, but if you take me on, I will help you grow. I've got some great ideas. They'll be like, oh my God, you are welcome. Okay, 2 more. What makes a good team player? What do they want to know? We're going to run out of time. Teamworking is very important to every employer. They want to hear how well you can work as part of a team. What you say is only partly important. Remember, playing with your hair, like that. Yes, you play with your hair. People are like, no, I don't like this person. Too fidgety, too concerned about their appearance. No, we want somebody who's confident, relaxed. So what you say is only partly important. What you do, what you look like, how you are with people is the majority of the decision is made on that. Palms, palms, palms. Get help where you can. AUA has got some great courses. My boss told me to say that, but it is true. It is true. It is true. We help people all the time with this kind of thing, working with CVs, working with presentation skills. And any questions? We don't have time for questions. Any questions? Anything you want to ask? Any questions? No, come on already. Any questions? Have you got a question? Cut down. Cut it out.
Use small letters.
No, never use small letters. Never. I think it's a good idea to attach a cover letter, but that's what I mean about. That's a very good question. That's what I mean about a cover letter should be addressed to the recruiter, and should be really personalised for this business, not dear to whom it may concern. No, you can't do that. So really specific. If you've got a resume, you've got to cut it down. You've got to edit it down. Is this experience absolutely important for this job? You do not have to put every job you've ever had. Yeah, I know people say, oh, how do I explain that 20 years of experience? But you can mention something, but don't put anything else. You say, yes, short, short, short. They will not read it if you do 3 pages. Trust me, never. 10 pages, forget it. That's shredded immediately. So it just shows, if you do 10 pages, it shows that you cannot contain your ideas. You cannot edit. You cannot contain yourself. 2 pages is enough. 1 page is ideal, I think. Yes, you know, I know. I had slides about that, and I took them out. I haven't got time to do it. But they will ask you, do you have any questions? And they are very important. You should. I don't think there's time to talk about it. But if you're going to ask questions, you've got to ask really relevant questions. Don't ask how much will I get paid. You should already know that. It should be part of it. That's not the first question you would ask. If I were you, if you keep it to 2 questions, the interviewer will get irritated if you ask 10 questions. And that shows, if you ask 10 questions, it shows you, again, you can't contain yourself. And you can find this out later. I would ask 2 questions. One of them is, what is your training and development? Do you train your staff? Because if they say no, don't take the job. Really important. If the job won't train you and help you develop more, it's not worth it. That's what I think. It's such an important question. So that's one question I would ask. You could ask specific. Job description should tell you exactly what you do in your job, where you'll work. You shouldn't ask questions about anything about that. But then you could ask. You could do, but I never like questions about that. They should be able to tell you exactly what the job is about and what benefits you would get. That should be part of the job description, really. So I would keep it to training and development. You could say something like, I'm really interested in this part of the work. Would you support me if I wanted to do that? You know, I'm really interested in developing my own products. Or people are like, oh, that's initiative. That's good. That kind of thing works well. I've got some really good ideas. Do you encourage that kind of thing? If they say no, don't take the job. All right? That's that kind of question. You want them to demonstrate that they are good at training and that they will support you if you've got new ideas. I'd keep it to 2 questions. That's it. But I think that's another lecture. What questions to ask? I think it's complicated. So. Okay, we've got to stop, everybody. Thank you for listening to me today. So I've been talking about this here. Good luck if you get an interview. Okay, nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.